Hello and welcome to Zero Cool Gaming and today's long play of Reckoning. Okay, so today I'm going to do a review of Record of Lodoss War. It's pretty old anime, but it's enjoyable. I do not suggest watching the anime on the dubbed version. Back then, companies didn't care about their dubs of anything, as far as I could tell. So they did a horrible job with it, as they did with most anime from that time. So as a result, the dubbed anime it's just painful to listen to. Truly, it's painful to listen to. I don't know if it's accurate or not accurate. I could care less. The subtitled version, I mean, even though I don't understand the Japanese language, I can understand intent and I can understand emotion. And I don't need to understand the language to get a feel for these sorts of things. And that's how you do whatever you want to call it in this game. That's how you lockpick. Alright, let's do it again. You move the lock and you slowly, and if you see any twitching, you stop. We're going the wrong way. And then you go the other way, and it works. That's really all I can say about that, is that it works. You don't need a whole lot in lock picking, even on the hard ones, to do that. These I've never been good at, so I'm not even going to try this right now. I'm going to come back to this much later, and possibly never, and give that a try. So, back to what I was saying. Record of Lodoss War. What is it about? Well, it's a I wouldn't even say high fantasy. It's a fantasy anime. You got dragons and sorcerers and witches and, clerics, fighters, berserkers, you got all the tropes of any good fantasy. And that in and of itself makes it enjoyable. One of the things that I do like about this show, in truth, is that you don't have to listen to it at all. Now, you're probably wondering what I mean by that. Well, you can literally watch just what's online, or online. You can literally watch just what's on the screen, not understand any of the words, just watching the action that's occurring, and get a general idea of what the story is and what's going on. You may not have the exacts, you may not know what the people's names are, this, that, and the other things like that, but you can certainly watch the show without any knowledge of what the show is about or what's going on, anything to that effect, just watching what's on the screen, and you can get the basic idea of the show and enjoy the show just visually. That in and of itself is pretty interesting. Is it a great show? Well, compared to other shows of its time, I would say it's average. It's an average show. I wouldn't say it's a great show or a wonderful show or anything to that effect, but it is definitely an average show.
You, I remember you. You're the one. How did you come back? How did you find me here?
Now, if you enjoy like science fiction and fantasy shows like I do, you'll enjoy the Record of Lodoss. And there's another one after that. The Chronicles Continue, I believe is what it's called, or the Chronicles of, or something like that. I'll review that one as well eventually. I just didn't want to review it with this one, because the newer one, I want to say the newer one's made for even a younger audience, but I'm not absolutely positive on that, so I'm going to watch the newer one again and make sure of that before I go with that.
When I saw you with Edsel in the well, I ran. It wasn't because I was afraid.
So I'd also like to talk a little bit about today the issues that we've had with translations in this country. Now, a lot of these left-wing scumbags who were hired to translate anime from like 2012 on did not translate what they were asked to. What they did was they partially translated what they were asked to and then injected their insane ideology into the animes wherever they could. And a lot of them have been called out for this crap over the years. I mean, we even had a strike of, people who were hired to translate Japanese to English, because they were being called out for their insane ideologies that they were injecting into these animes rather than just doing their job and creating proper translations of them. And these people were so disingenuous in what they were doing.
Thank you. Here, take this. It's the pay for my last report.
That they used examples like ghost stories to justify their behavior. Okay, ghost stories, in case you don't know what that is, it is an anime. And it is an anime that did extremely poorly in Japan, to the point that they literally gave the IP away in that respect. Or I should say they gave total freedom over the IP away to see if this I don't remember who did the translation on it, but they gave it away to see if a different translation of this anime, or a different way of presenting this anime could be more enjoyable. I'm guessing that it wasn't a cheap anime to produce in Japan, and they wanted to make something for it. And that's why they did this. And the company that took it over hired people who worked well together in that respect. They had good banter between each other. They understood each other's emotional outtakes and feelings, and as a result, they were able to turn a horrible anime from Japan into a hilarious comedy. And it is a hilarious comedy. I strongly suggest anybody who enjoys comedy to watch Ghost Stories. But that was intentional. Truly. It was sold with the explicit intent to change the original story into something that would work here in the States, is a way of putting that. And they didn't care what they turned it into.
The cards told me that the Well of Souls would work, or Hughes' success would come on the day of his death.
Excuse me.
Although we did a lot of drinking.
So, hold on one second. Yeah, my allergies are killing me this morning. So, there's that, but they try to use that as an excuse to justify their actions in what they've done, in what they continuously do. That's why anything made after 2012, I never suggest the dubbed versions of any anime. Period. And in some cases, even the subtitles are lies. And you just kind of have to deal with that insanity. Because there is no...
Then that means,
as far as I can tell currently, there's no way of fixing that.
this morning, I drew the Gravedigger, the Running Man, and the Beast. Prepare yourself. They're coming.
Now there is, still plenty of okay. So yeah, these all right. And I guess that was experience that just jumped into me from all over the place. So yeah, I mean, there's a lot of problems with what they've done over the years.
What? How? What are you? The threads of fate.
Especially when it comes to the
I've never seen anyone
translation
like that.
of Japanese properties into English.
The world was supposed to work. How did you do that? You just... Fate is the will of the gods. No mortal should be able to change it. How is that even possible? Come here.
So,
I'm going to do a reading. You might be able to change the
going back to
fate will still have a plan for
Record of Lodoss War, though.
I promise not to tell you.
Basically, it's the story of this band of, adventurers, I guess is a way that you could put it, that just kind of formed out of, happenstance and running into each other, these sorts of things.
That would be my guess. He was an academic, but he had a proper respect for fate's
And they go across
unlike
this
most
country, island. They call it an island in the show, but I think it's more like a country.
You're nervous. Relax. This is what fate weavers do. I'll be seeing your place in the pattern of destiny.
And they try to figure out,
Where your
what's
path takes you.
causing the problems in the world and how to fix them and, this sort of thing.
You're real, right? I swear I haven't had that much.
In the end of the show, yeah, of course they sort of fix the problems, but there's obviously a part 2 to this, so they don't fix everything. They still leave, the evil is not, conquered as of yet. It's just been, part of it taken down or part of it removed.
Fate's weave is always hard to see. It's in motion, hard to make out, but undeniably there. Yours is just missing.
And I always liked stories like that, especially the fantasy or the sci-fi stories where, they try to destroy everything, but there's always a little piece of something left behind, and that grows into bigger evil, blah, blah, blah. This is kind of the same story, truly. Where you start with
I can see the threads around me, but they're shifting, changing. I can't make sense of them. Normally the threads would guide my hand to the cards, and I'd use those cards to see your pattern in the weave. But it just didn't happen. They wouldn't focus. So either there's something wrong with me, and there isn't.
So one of the things that I guess you could say that I did like about this show was the fact that, yeah, you don't even need to listen to it to understand the story. Just through the visual presentation, you can get an idea of what the story is. And I like that. I thought that was a unique way of creating a very basic story for people. A way to make something very digestible is a good way of looking at that.
Or it could mean everything. The world is changing. You might
Now,
be
one of the
silent.
things that
Maybe the cause. I've never had a reason to
always
doubt
brought me
your
back
reasons.
to this show, I
Should
guess,
consult with Arden. He's not a friend,
is that there...
but he's got a good eye for the tapestry.
How should
I'll
I
meet
put
you at
this?
his home to the east. I'm going to see if I can be of any help to
There
the
are
people.
plenty of fantasy anime out there, truly. Um,
You can find Arden's little cottage in the middle of Yovan. Had to move there when he got run out of town. He's a damned good fate weaver. But that doesn't make you very popular. Especially not in dark days like these. That's just it. I don't know if you've got one. But that's why we're going to see Arden. He lives in a little hut.
yeah, the game's distracted me. Sorry about that.
I'll meet you
So,
there.
Is Record of Lodoss were a good show? It's not a horrible show. I would probably give it a 3 to 4, truly. It's not one of the better shows either. At least not what I would consider better. But it is enjoyable. It is, it's a fun, entertaining story. It's not meant to twist your mind or brainwash you. It's just meant to be something fun to sit down and watch. And that it is. It is fun to sit down and watch. It's not painful to get through. It's not hard to get through. It wasn't made for, children. It's made for teenagers. Absolutely. But it wasn't made for young kids. And when you put all of that together, it makes for a pretty decent story. Like I said, it's a good time. That's really what it is. That's all it is. It's not meant to be deep. It's not meant to be philosophical. It's not meant to make you question your life in any way. It's just meant to be something fun to play. Something enjoyable to
Of all the songs in halls of lore, there echoes none more grand than Olane's many feats of might.
something enjoyable to watch.
Lady of the light.
Just, waste your time with.
She is the cure.
And that's as far as I would go with that. As far as the show itself.
She is the heart.
That's all it's designed to do. It's just something designed to be entertaining. Which in today's world is a plus. And truly that's what I'm trying to do with this channel. Is I'm trying to only review things that I've enjoyed as an adult. Now I'll still go over things that I see wrong in the entertainment industry. And the stuff that, and I'll somewhat go over the stuff that I refuse to watch in that respect. But my main purpose is to show people games that I've enjoyed, shows that I've enjoyed, and give people an idea of what I consider good entertainment that isn't designed to, push the message, spread the agenda, or brainwash people into believing in insane ideology that's based on communism. And woke ideology, identity politics, is based in communism. Truly. Not just communism, it's based in racism and hatred of anything that, isn't you. It's meant to divide and harm people, truly. And it's paid for and put out by our own government. So, there's that. And I know what people are saying. Oh, it's not paid for by our government, blah, blah, blah. It's independent companies. Okay. PBS is paid for by your tax dollars, people. PBS stands for Public Broadcasting Service. Or Public Broadcasting System. Whatever word they put there. It is paid for by your taxes. Period. And if you look at the programs on PBS today, they are all filled with woke nonsense and the insanity of the communist agenda. the utopian society that they will build from the ashes of the old by any means necessary. And it's in, it's in things like Sesame Street. It's in things like Blue's Clues. It's in things like Arthur. These are all PBS programs. Paid for by your tax dollars. And promote this. Arthur literally sits there and promotes child pedophilia at times. It sits there and promotes Black Lives Matter at times. The same thing with Blue's Clues. It promotes both of those things today. Parents really need to watch what their children are watching today. Because what you watched as a child today is not appropriate for children. Period. And parents need to start understanding this fact, or they're going to lose their children. And what I mean by that is that their children will believe the insanity that is put out on these programs. And eventually, especially with children, if you tell them the lie enough, they will start to believe that their parents are the evil in the world. And that the only right thing for them to do is to turn their parents into the state for the horrible crimes that they've committed. It's sick. It's twisted. It's not right. But there's nothing that truly you can do about it other than remove your children from this institution, meaning schools, the programming that's being put out. You've just got to censor all of it to prevent the state from corrupting your children into hating you. Because that's exactly what they'll do. That's what the intention is. And people need to be made aware of this fact so that they can put an end to it. If enough people put an end to it, refuse to send their children to these damn public schools, refuse to watch these programs that are put out by these producers and paid for most likely by your tax dollars, as well as many other black, and when I say black, what I mean is dark, unknown sources are funding this insanity to the scale of billions a year. Eventually, yes, they will run out of money, but how many years is that going to take? 5 years, 10 years, 20 years? I don't know. Are they willing to continue funding this until they are bankrupt and living on the streets? I don't know. I don't know at what point it will become too expensive for them to maintain. But I know that I will never put money or give my money to these companies that hate me. And if that means that I have to pay twice as much, then so be it. Anyway, that's my rant for the day, and I hope you enjoy the rest of yours.